Hi guys, welcome to my video. I'm going to be talking about perpendicular and parallel lines. So let's get into it. Yeah. So what are perpendicular and what are parallel lines? So when they say two lines are perpendicular, what comes to your mind? So first of all, we have to realize that these lines actually do intersect, right? You see, if this is a line A and this is line B, they're intersecting, but they don't only intersect, they intersect at 90 degrees. So this angle between these two lines is actually 90 degrees. What about parallel line? You see, both of them are like going pretty much in the same directions and they would never intersect, right? They could be like this. Yeah, so these two lines, they would never intersect. Even if they go on to infinity, they'll never intersect. So these are parallel lines. So these ones do intersect, the perpendicular lines, the parallel lines do not intersect. Another thing very interesting about parallel lines, if this is a line C and this is line D, as soon as they tell you that line C and line D are parallel, they have the same gradient. They have the same slope. They have the same, whatever you choose to call it, you can call it the same gradient, the same slope, the same rise over run. So if this is the slope M1 for line C, and this is the slope M2 of line D, that means M1 is equal to M2. If a line C has a slope of 5, D will also have a slope of 5. They have the same slopes or gradients. What about perpendicular lines? If two lines are perpendicular, on the other hand, they have negative reciprocal slopes, right? So if this is our line A and this is our line B, right? If the slope of line A is 3, all you have to do to get the slope of line B is get the reciprocal. So meaning the reciprocal of 3 is 1 out of 3. And then if this is a positive, then flip that sign. This will be a negative. What about if this line B has a slope of, say, negative 1 out of 4? I'm going to flip the fraction and I'm also going to change the sign. So negative reciprocal means opposite sign. So if this is a negative, then this will be a positive. Yeah. And if this is 1 over 4, that means the slope here of this other line is 4. So these two lines, to be perpendicular, they have negative reciprocal slopes. Yeah. Okay. So let's do some work finding the negative reciprocal slopes. So if two lines are perpendicular, negative reciprocal slopes. If two lines are parallel, they have the same slopes. It's going to be so important. We need to keep that in mind. If two lines are perpendicular, they intersect at 90 degrees. If two lines are parallel, they never intersect. All right, so for parallel lines, it's pretty easy, but let's do some more work in perpendicular lines, getting the slopes of two perpendicular lines, right? Okay, in this slide, they're telling us to find the negative reciprocal of this fraction. So let's start with the first fraction, which is 3 out of 4. All you have to do is flip the fraction, change the sign. If this is 3 out of 4, the negative reciprocal will be 4 out of 3. And if this is a positive, this will be a negative. So that's negative reciprocal, right? So that is example 1, right? If we look at example 2, they want us to get the negative reciprocal, right? Because this is a negative, this will be a positive, right? And if this is 7 out of 8, this will be 8 out of 7. What about 2? They want you to get the slope of a line perpendicular to another line with a slope of 2. Since this is 2, every time you have a fraction, maybe 2, it's the same as 2 over 1. So if you flip that fraction, it will be 1 over 2, right? Because this is a positive, this will be negative. So the negative reciprocal of this will be 1 over 2. What about 0? Yeah, if you have 1 out of 0, that's undefined, right? So the slope here will be undefined. Yeah, so every time, remember from my previous video, which lines have a slope of 0, right? Go back to my previous video and find out which lines have a slope of 0. So this is how we're going to be calculating negative reciprocal slopes, right? So even if they give you like some weird fraction like 19 out of 31 negative, and they tell you what's the negative reciprocal, or maybe one line, find the gradient of the line, or find the slope of a line to this line. All you have to do is the slope will have negative reciprocal. If it's perpendicular to this line, it will have negative. So flip the fraction. So this will be 31 out of 19. And because this is a negative, this will be a positive, right? So meaning this is the slope of another line perpendicular to this line. Does that make sense? All right. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm going to see you in the next video.